Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of PMP's Den of Antiquities, and today we have the final Kenobi Roundtable. We're gonna get right into it, but first we're gonna introduce everybody here and let you guys connect with the good people of this podcast. Hannah, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, my name is Hannah. You've probably seen me on TikTok or Instagram as the girl who is mildly obsessed with becoming Grievous. I have a crap ton of lightsabers, so my @ is hannahs.emp on Instagram and hannah.emp on TikTok.
Very cool, very cool. Grant?
I'm Grant. I'm new to the whole Mandalorian cosplaying thing. You can find me on Instagram at Vanguard Mandalorian.
Very cool, very cool. Jake?
j.t.lovecraft on Instagram. That's about it.
Right on, right on. Neal?
Hey guys, I'm Neal. I like to customize 375 action figures, pretty much in an all Rebel theme. You can find me at Rebel Scum 375 on Instagram.
Very cool, very cool. Nick? Oh, we can't hear you, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Panic mode.
Ah!
We're sending in someone to negotiate.
Thank God for post-credit modification.
Jam transmission. Must be an invasion. While we're doing this, Rex, do you want to go next? We'll circle back around to Nick.
Hi, I like to think I'm a prop maker and cosplayer. You can find me on Instagram as Rex_Skyfighter.
Heck yeah. And then how do you is it Dragon? Is that how I say it?
Dragon.
Dragon. Okay.
My name's Brad. So
Brad. Okay.
But yeah, it's you can find me at Dragon_Hosk on Instagram, and then there's a link tree to the rest of all the other socials.
Very cool. Very cool. And you guys can find me at PMPs_den at basically any social media, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. And you can obviously find me on YouTube because you're here now. So
And PMP Creations.
Yeah,
you have to shout yourself out.
Yeah, PMP Creations. Yes, I don't shout out my shop enough, but if you guys are into 3D printed video games / Star Wars stuff, I have a 3D printed shop. Right now that stuff's down because I'm prepping for a convention. I don't know if you guys can see all on the ground over here, but I have a whole bunch of stuff and then a whole bunch of stuff over there that I'm prepping a convention for, but my shop will be back up in September. So
now, Max, I actually didn't know that you said you're an affiliate for Galactic Armor.
Yeah. So he has an affiliate program, or he was reaching out a while back to some people. So yeah, you guys. Also, I promote it on Instagram, but I don't promote it on here. Why? I don't know. But if you use PMP's Den, all one word, you get 5% off your whole order. So.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Max and I both have that.
There's two Brads. Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, but I was gonna say because I knew about that guy before he was even Galactic Armor. His name was Big Baby Props. That's who I got. That's where I got my Dirge helmet from.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
First one.
Yeah. I was I think I was right because he was still kind of calling himself Big Baby Props right when I had started following him a little while ago. And he was mixing Galactic Armory and Big Baby Props, so I think I caught him right out of that phase. But dude, that dude is gold.
He's a nice guy. He's doing some really cool stuff right now with Life Size Master Chief and.
Oh yeah, dude, I've been following that. Yeah. It's very very cool on his Instagram. Yeah, his print farm is he's 74 printers or something like that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Bro,
it's ridiculous.
And so when he was doing the Dirge helmet, let me go grab it and show you.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that work?
Oh, is that Nick?
Oh, there we go.
Nice. All right, while he's grabbing the helmet, why don't you shout out your social medias real quick?
Sure. I'm Nick, owner of CGSProps over on Etsy, but you can also find me on Instagram at CGS_props.
Very cool, very cool. So we got everybody.
Nick is alive!
I guess so.
No, but that's it.
Dude, that's so cool.
This is the first created 2003 Tartakovsky Dirge. There's some other dude that made the comic book version, and that was the first Dirge in existence. I tried contacting that dude, but he's not willing to sell a mold. It's just so good. But this, I I got a little thing of like weathered black wash, and just did the grooves to give it that more like cartoon kind of like when he's front facing, etc. Hit it on the sides to make it dirty. But then my mom, who knows a seamstress, I went to Joanne Fabrics and actually picked out the exact color swaps for the drapes. She did like this insane pleating work with like leather. And then when I was at Nashville, I had actually James Arnold Taylor sign it. Who was the voice of Obi-Wan in the 2003 Clone Wars as well as 2008.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, dude, I forgot I was in that. Yeah, that's awesome. And he's never seen it. So yeah, I just brought the drapes with me, but that's...
Wouldn't he be like a cool villain in The Mandalorian to like show up?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dirge in the comic books is nuts. He zombifies a bunch of Gungans to spawn a trap for Kenobi.
He literally wipes out the Gungan race.
Gungans, I hear.
He's like crazy, man. I hope we get him somewhere in live action because I think he's a really cool character. He's actually, I want to get into character sculpts, and he's one of the ones that I have planned because like from what I've seen, like nobody's done a Dirge character sculpt, or there's very little out there if there are. So I've been wanting to do that. But let's get into Kenobi, guys. That's what we're here for, and we're excited. I know we're excited to talk about it because this episode was painful, and beautiful too. Yes, very painful. But what did you guys think? Like, without getting too far into the episode, what would you rate it out of 10, and what were some of your thoughts before getting into it? Hannah, let's go with you. We'll go across the line again.
I don't even know. I don't have words for it. It was really good. It hurt my heart, but I will say it was a damn good episode, and I really loved the lightsaber fights. Oh, that's like one of my favorites now. It's like it made it like whoop, right up here for me.
Yeah, I rate it. I was greedy, man. I was greedy. I wanted more. And I know I shouldn't. I would have.
No, I shouldn't.
I know.
I'm like, you guys could have made this an hour and give us like 10 minutes more of fighting, and we would have loved it.
Yeah, we would have ate it up. We would have been fine.
But you said 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Grant, what about you?
I would give it 10 out of 10, and it was everything that we hoped for in the first few episodes. As we start talking about things, there's things I'm going to reference from older episodes that I talked about on the roundtables. But I think it really gave us everything that as fans we were asking for in the Kenobi show entirely. And what I loved is that it waited until the very end to give us what we were hoping for.
Very cool. Very cool. Jake?
Dude, like I said last podcast, I said everybody's Star Wars is different. They all have different marks to hit. Mine were hit within like the first episode. And then seeing Vader in episode 3 with the fire in his eyes, making Obi-Wan feel his pain, all that little stuff. The training sequence in episode 5, and then episode 6 rolls around. 10. Easy, man. Not even just because of the fight, but because of their verbal scuttle that they had. That was just a stab in the heart. I was doing a watch party, and I was crying. You can see me weep. Like a manly man. No.
I may or may not have shed some tears as well. That's why I haven't done watch parties yet, because I'm just like it's like I don't know if I'm ready
to cry, man.
I don't know if I'm ready to cry on the big screen yet. I don't know if I've leveled up to that yet. Neal, what about you, man?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know that I'd put a number on it. I think that changes over time and like phases I go through. But I had a whole lot of fun, and there was some really rad stuff in there, you know.
Heck yeah, dude! I couldn't agree more. Nick, what about you?
I think I gotta give it like a solid 9 out of 10. I thought you were about to say 7, and I was like, dude. You just leave. Never.
There's the door. I don't know why.
Never. 4. Kidding. We all thought Rogue One gave more context to A New Hope. I think we can all agree now that this episode and the show as a whole has like immensely amplified that, which is what I love.
Oh yeah, well when I think it's kind of like a throwaway line in A New Hope when Luke's like, "Hey, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. I'm here with Ben Kenobi," and Leia goes, "Ben Kenobi." You're like, okay, she's just excited because she's heard stories or whatever. But now it's like he like saved her and she saved him, so it's like a really like it gives so much more to that scene, which is crazy.
It's that solid safety net.
Yeah. Rex, what about you, man?
Well, solid 10 out of 10.
Right.
Definitely my favorite episode, and I don't know if this personally puts it above Mandalorian, at least for me, because I really enjoyed this episode so much. And one thing that made it outstanding even more is the score that it has, because I am not a musician, I am not studied in any of this, but some of this felt closer to the style that John Williams had of conducting compared to what Michael Giacchino had on his job that he has done for Star Wars.
Very cool. The score was interesting. I wasn't definitely. I think they did a good job in this one. Throughout it, I thought it was some parts were a little shaky. I thought they could have mixed some of the more classic themes into it, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it too. I agree. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have you say your name one more time, dude. I have the mind of a goldfish, and as soon as you said your name. Brad. Okay.
Brad, yeah.
I need to like. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched like I think it's Parks and Rec where she like says the names like really weird, like it's like Brad or something like I need to do that. Dude, I have the mind.
However you got to do it, man. That's all.
But what did you think, man?
10 out of 10. Just some of the gaps that were filled between what we knew to where we are. I mean, just top to bottom, the fight scene totally blows Revenge of the Sith out of the way.
Oh, that's a bold statement. That's a bold. They pulled a whole lot in this, and they gave us a lot of what we were looking for. We may have to wait to the very end for some stuff, but at the end of the day, I feel they delivered on what we wanted. Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. So
we've talked about the fight scenes and we've talked about the music. I saw something and I'll have to find it again. I'll have to send it to Hannah and you, Max. They redid the fight covered by the Duel of Fates, and it was magical. Yeah, I'll have to find it and I'll send it out to the group and everything.
Put it in that group chat. For sure. Put it in the group chat.
I'll pop it right in the group chat. Yeah, it was magical. I found it on Instagram. I'll find it again. Yeah, it was definitely a wild ride for sure.
That's cool. I love it when they do stuff like that. The big one that I reference is the Rise of Skywalker, when they put like the crazy music and like the Jedi behind Rey. Like that one was crazy. And then they did the same thing for Rise of Skywalker when Kylo and Rey were fighting on like the remnants of the Death Star. They put like the Duel of the Fates, and I was like, oh man, if we would have got that would have been crazy. But so we kind of see Obi-Wan from start to finish. From the beginning, he's very he's done. He's not really a Jedi anymore. He's kind of put it behind him. He stopped using the Force. He's very distrusting in people, as we see. He tells that Jedi to, hey, go bury your lightsaber in the desert and start a new life. And then we kind of see him in this episode where he's like, hey, you guys are the future. He's talking to all the crew. He's like, you guys are the future. Leia, you're the future. He ends up trusting Haja with Leia, which I think is crazy because he did not like that guy. He calls him like a rat in the gutter or something like that in the second episode. And then he goes to having Haja protect like one of the most important things in his life. What did you guys think of Obi-Wan's overall arc in this story? And like, how did you like seeing him kind of evolve from like this broken man, not cut off from the Force, I guess, but almost cut off from the Force, to go to the Jedi we know and love? Hannah, we'll start with you.
Okay. It was nice seeing him finally at peace. Well, for the most part, peace at the end. Seeing him just smile and seeing Luke. I loved it. That's all I can really say. Is just I loved this series. But it was nice seeing that. Yeah, he took 10 years like away from the Force, and then seeing him just kind of. How do I put it into words? I'm trying to put it into words. It's just a lot.
Flicking on a light switch.
I know. Yeah, it was nice to see that he, as messed up as it sounds like that, it was a struggle, and then he finally was able to get not get his powers back, or not powers, but the Force. I'm so sorry, guys. It's been a long day.
You're good. No worries.
But yeah, it was really nice to see that protecting Leia and just the whole dynamic between him and Leia. It made me feel, I don't know, like full on the inside. But it was nice to see Kenobi go from, screw the Force, I don't want anything to do with it, like, to there's a whole bunch of Jedi out here who, or not just Jedi, but people in general who need the hope that a Jedi brings, if that makes sense.
Completely.
Rebellions are built on that.
Okay, I'm trying to put it into words, and I want to make sure my words are coming out correctly.
You're good. As somebody who also struggles with talking and like putting my words into like I have everything planned out, and then when I hop on like a podcast or something like that, I'm just like blah 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 blah.
Yep, that's what I'm going through right now. It's been a while since I've been on a podcast and talked with fellow nerds, so it's nice to.
What you call me?
No, I'm nerd.
Oh, hey, own up to it. You got a Dirge hat signed by James Arnold Taylor. Come on now. Come on.
It's in the flesh.
Yes. But no, it was really nice to see Kenobi a kind of happy ending. Just seeing him finally at mostly peace while protecting the children.
Oh, yeah.
In a way,
for sure.
It was really nice.
I couldn't agree more. It's very, very wholesome. I never knew I needed Obi-Wan and Leia relationship until I saw this show, and I'm just like, this has been like a missing link of my life in Star Wars that I've never known that I've actually needed. It's so crazy.
It fills the hole of, why does Leia know Ben? Like, how does she know Kenobi? So it filled that little hole that we had, why in A New Hope, out of everyone she could have chose, she chose Kenobi. So it was really nice for that connection to come in. I really liked it.
Heck yeah. Grant, what about you, man? What's your thoughts?
So talking, your question was how did we feel about seeing Kenobi reconnect with the Force all throughout? One of the subtle things from a director standpoint that I loved was the costume evolution. He starts out, nothing about him is Jedi, and slowly he's wearing the belt, then he's wearing the cloak, and now here we are at the final episode, and he basically looks like he's wearing the same thing from Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, very Jedi-style robes, beautiful. And my other favorite link was, I can't remember if it was in episode 2 or episode 3, he tries moving a small object, right? He's trying to use the Force to move a small object, and he's struggling. And here we are, episode 6, and he's picking up gigantic boulders behind him. Not only is he force pushing Darth Vader, who's the most powerful Sith user of the time, but he's picking up this collection of boulders behind him and throwing them down on top of Vader, one right after another. And I was like, there's your evolution of the Force right there. There's that rediscovery in that moment alone. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, and I think it's a good thing. I think it really shows the Force, because a lot of people complain about the level of training that Luke gets, that Rey gets, and while yes, it is totally about training too, the Force really resides in everybody, and I think it's the belief that Obi-Wan had, the hope that he was getting, really empowered him through the Force to be able to do, because everybody was like, how is he able to do all this crazy stuff when, you were saying, he was struggling to move it was a little zipper thing or something.
Yeah, it wasn't even anything big,
and it was really just
comm unit.
That's right. Yeah,
exactly. And it's just his hope in the Force had been restored. He realized his purpose, and that was kind of the whole thing with the Force is if you know your purpose and you know your goal, the Force will guide you and basically flow through you so much better than if you're just oh, I don't know, it's really optimism. The Force is optimism. I feel almost is the more optimistic you are, the more headstrong, the more it's gonna flow through you. Mm-hmm. Jake, what did you think?
Hannah was mentioning filling that hole when it comes to being in denial when it comes to the Force, and then finally reconnecting in that sense. Not a lot of people know of that connection between that and the Legacy comic book series by Dark Horse. You go over Kade Skywalker, who is he's the descendant of Luke, and he wanted nothing to do with his family.
He was doing like death sticks and stuff like that.
Slums, death sticks. He was gnarly, but you can't stop destiny. And he actually ended up using that newfound, kind of power that he reconnected with to actually defeat the evil. I mean, this is unavoidable stuff. So when you see it with Kenobi, it's a little bit more impactful only because it's tied to the story of someone losing their brother and best friend to this unstoppable force, quite literally, unstoppable force. And like I said, though, that little nuance and connection is where it's at, and that's you see Obi-Wan right before the fight. He goes right into the Clone Wars.
Classic, classic.
Love it. I love that so much.
He's still struggling with dealing with Ben Kenobi from the Clone Wars in that sense. He's not struggling as old Ben, old Ben on Tatooine. He's still Obi-Wan. So that's why he went zipped right to that pose.
When he zipped to that pose, I really thought that we were going to get the Rebels, lineage that we got with Maul. I thought he was.
That's what I was
just through multiple.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say his character arc flows in the sense that he's not there yet. He's not at peace. Mm-hmm. He doesn't flip Clone Wars Qui-Gon peace on Ben Kenobi. He goes right to Clone Wars because this is his brother. That he's overtaken. I think it's the perfect battle between light and dark.
Well, I think too, I think he does that because Kenobi's the negotiator, and I would say he's almost like a light side manipulator. You know how like the dark side really is empowered by manipulation, and I think he also kind of does that mind game of kind of putting Anakin or Vader back into that role of Anakin, and that's why I think we kind of get that flicker of Anakin and Vader during. We'll talk about that fight scene a little later, but of that kind of flipping back and forth, in that
scene. What I get off of that? I don't think he's manipulating through the light side. I think he's shoving the dark side back in Vader's face. Because Obi-Wan's a master of defense. Anakin's throwing all the punches. So if you go to that fight, right at the end of it, you see him, goodbye, Darth. He doesn't even call him Anakin anymore. He's accepted that he's, Vader at this point. And when he walks away, Vader's like, what the hell, man? You're just going to walk away after doing this? Vader's been throwing all the punches. Obi-Wan's like, it's like trying to pick a rose out of a rose thorn bush. You keep getting pricked. Every single time Vader went back at him, he was getting force pushed. He got his cape sliced, got his beatbox machine all mashed up,
Beatbox machine, that's now a
he kept getting pricked, and I think the reason Anakin realized he cannot be on Kenobi's level is because he hasn't realized that yet.
Very well said, man. Very well said. Neal, what about you? What did you think?
Yeah, I think what makes Star Wars successful, like in general, and like really sink in our hearts and minds, is its power to like use myth. So like go back to like George Lucas when he was writing the very first Star Wars, before it's even A New Hope, and he uses the pattern, the hero's journey, out of a hero of 1,000 faces, right? And so there's a reluctant hero and a call to action and entering the unknown, right? Completing their mission and coming home. Like, I think Obi-Wan kind of revisited that theology or mythology that makes Star Wars like epic, and not just like, an episode of Star Trek or something, which I don't hate on Trekkies. I'm not doing that.
Nah, you can hate. You can hate. It's all good.
This is a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah. And I mean, come on, the battle was pretty epic. And what I loved about it is like Obi-Wan Kenobi is like reignited, like his fire's reignited when he realizes that he does have things to fight for, and it's the future of the world that he lives in, right? And the reason he doesn't like kill Darth Vader at the end is he realizes that these children have to face their father and the story of their father to become who they have to be in order to pick up the pieces of the galaxy. And that he's realized, my part in this story has been played, and I have to leave the work to be done by these children, and my job is to make sure they grow up prepared to do that. And I think that's why he didn't just like, well, first of all, I couldn't chop off Vader's head because then we wouldn't have, that wouldn't make any sense because it's crammed in between all these other movies that have made, but it's like, you know, that's kind of what I inferred into the movie. I don't know if they implied that or not, but I inferred that. Yeah,
I mean, I think I got that same feeling that you did while watching it. I feel like, one, you know, I think him killing, because everybody was like, oh, why didn't he kill Vader? I'm like, because then you want to talk about, there's so many people being like, oh, this show breaks canon. You want to talk about breaking canon, literally killing off like the main character of Star Wars in a show.
The same people who are like, Luke is gonna die at the end of Kenobi.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Please tell me. Okay, I was gonna say, please tell me someone has saw that.
Yeah,
you know, people are like,
I've seen
Luke's
so
gonna
many.
Die.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well,
Get
Neal,
some help.
decapping Vader, I know that was said and it was kind of outlandish, but the most damage Obi-Wan was able to do with him while still remaining in the Jedi Code was slashing his helmet. Ahsoka slashed one side, Kenobi slashed the other. But to fully redeem Anakin, it took his son to fully remove the helmet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that too.
Piece deal. Yeah.
Didn't do that with an act of violence. It was an act of compassion. And that's what repaired the relationship, and that is what ultimately saved Luke Skywalker, or saved Anakin Skywalker. Not an act of violence. It was an act of compassion.
And it was after Obi-Wan slashed his helmet, he was actually able to talk to Vader.
Did you see him cry too?
Yeah.
Dude,
oh yeah.
Anakin was crying.
Yeah. Like the duality of the voices there, the way they played.
Oh,
with,
I thought it was beautiful.
To Darth Vader.
It's Anakin saying, "I am not your failure, Obi-Wan."
Right.
In Vader's voice.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We're jumping ahead a little bit. We're jumping ahead a little bit. Yeah. No, you're fine. Yours are fine. We're just jumping ahead just a little bit. We're gonna have a whole section about talking about this fight because that's honestly that's the thing I was most excited for to talk to you guys about was the fight. Nick, what do you think about Obi-Wan's journey?
I mean, in terms of his connection to the Force, I think it was a really nice progression of steps. In episode 1, we saw him really try to connect with Qui-Gon, but nothing really happened with that. Episode 2, he was reintroduced to the Force when he was saving Leia from the fall. Episode 3, he was reintroduced into lightsaber battle where he lost against Vader, and so on. 4, he was stronger with the Force. 5, he was stronger with the blade, and now in 6, he's immensely stronger with both. So I just thought it was a really nice progression of steps.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I was I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I was happy with that from the get go. I was a little sad that he had like lost his way at the beginning and like was struggling. I was like, he can't use the Force. Like, what is this?
It makes sense though, man, when you look at it.
Yeah, no, and it was me. I'm working on talking about myself here. Working on
Max is
patience, patience, because I didn't like the way that was written at first, but now that I see the whole scope of things, it's taught me that you need to be patient and let the story tell out. I wasn't as far as some people went with it, but I did see some of that. I was like, man, okay, so he's like on Tatooine, he's basically cut off from the Force, but he's there to protect Luke, and I was like, I was like,
yeah. See, I just gotta say this, right? Because I just gotta get it out. Like, I had been waiting to see Luke Skywalker since I was a kid. Like, I saw Star Wars. Like, the only other mythical figure I knew of before I saw Star Wars was Robin Hood. And so, like, Luke Skywalker was my King Arthur. And then when The Force Awakens was coming out, and I was like, oh, Mark Hamill's in it, we're going to get some Luke Skywalker. And then we watched the entire movie, and Luke's at the very end. And then The Last Jedi, we get grumpy Luke Skywalker, who's cut himself off from the Force. Like, and I'm not going to get into a whole Last Jedi thing, because I do like that movie, and I don't want to misconstrue that. But, like, when I saw some Kenobi people kind of complaining about that, I was like, see, it hurts, doesn't it? It sucks to see your hero kind of wallowing around in the depths. And I was like just ready for a Luke Skywalker moment to like rise, you know what I mean? And get everything that we got out of Kenobi from Luke. Now, we got a version of that in Last Jedi that I've come around to it, but it took me a little while. So
you're a much wiser man than I am, because I'm still working on that.
See, what I loved about the Luke thing is, I don't know how anyone else was, going into this show, I had no idea that we were going to see a Leia. I thought that this was all going to be Luke based, right? We watch Luke through his bio,
Didn't get Luke,
and that's it. Yeah, and the entire thing, we got Luke. One small part, Kenobi never defended Luke, right? Owen and Beru did, which I thought was awesome. I'm sure we'll get to that, but then we finally get Luke with what I thought was one of the most beautiful parts of the show. But we'll get to that anyways. Max, I don't want to take you off track.
No, you're good, man. This is what these things are for. They derail a little bit here and there. 100%. I just the only part that I was like, hey, is like let's get back on track was the fight, because that's gonna be like a whole section within itself. We're about to get into that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But Rex, what did you think about Kenobi's journey throughout this show?
Well, I really like the way they did his character here, because it makes a lot of sense after some traumatic event that we normal people have. Sometimes we kind of get distance from it and I don't want to know about it anymore, and then for whatever reason in life you have to get back to that thing and you're like, I haven't practiced this thing in years, I don't know how to do it, but I'll try it. And I think that really applies very well to Kenobi, the way he was like, I cannot use the Force anymore, to all of these overpowered Jedi Master at the end versus Vader. I think that makes a lot of sense. And as you mentioned before, I really noticed the thing of his costume evolving throughout the series. And the only thing that was going through my mind was the Rebel Legion having to write 10 CRLs just because of this 6-episode show, because of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Brad, what about you, man? What did you think of Kenobi's process?
I loved it. Just to watch him go from all the denial, keep staying away from the Force, and I think it was because all the blame he put on himself from what happened to Anakin. Because I mean, at the end of the day, he left Anakin burning on a lava shore, and Padme dying, the kids being separated, to the end of this where he realizes I got to let go. I have to look at the future, just like he said on the ship at the beginning of the episode, looking at the kids, you are the future, talking to everybody, Roken, you are the future, to finally accepting that himself. I mean, he was saying it, wasn't accepting it till finally he had to accepted it. And then, all of a sudden he's back on, throwing rocks, busting Vader. I mean, just a completely different guy.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. Like he just went through, like he's like almost like I'd say a whole new person. He's really just like, I feel like he's Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and it's just crazy to see his progress. Even Vader is like, he's like, you've got your strength back, but he's like, you still have weakness or whatever.
Well, not to get into the details about the fight scene, but the first Force push compared to the last Force push, I mean, look at the distance. I mean, there was a big rock in the way too, but he still slid across and nailed it. And I mean, just the effort he had was there, and the will to use it was there.
I got some heavy Satil Shan versus Malgus vibes with the rock throwing.
Oh yeah, yeah, where he's like, and she's like pushing all the rocks. We can go into that because that's my next thing. I wanted to share. I don't know if it'll pop up for you, the viewers, but I'll add it in post. But I wanted to share with you because as soon as I saw that scene, there's a concept art of Ben Kenobi on the Death Star where he's like doing the exact same move where he has his arms out, but he has a whole bunch of E11 blasters around him firing at like Vader and stuff like that. And I'm going to show you guys
a whole bunch of what?
Blasters.
The Stormtrooper
what
blasters.
Type? E11s?
E11s.
Wonderful. What? Yeah, no, Neal gets it. It's wonderful.
You had me. I was like, did I say the wrong blaster?
I have such a soft spot for E11s, so yeah. Mm-hmm. That
is awesome.
But I was like, minus
a wound in him.
Yeah, like minus the sabers. I was like that like I don't know. I just thought of that scene like instantly. Mm-hmm. Like so.
Well, the question is, did they actually hit anything?
That's a topic for another day.
Well, it wasn't stormtroopers though.
True.
Stormtroopers weren't the ones shooting, so they probably were accurate.
Yeah, he didn't have the helmet on that couldn't see anything out of it and stuff like that. But yeah, that was what did you guys? Oh, it like totally shuffled all you guys.
Oh yeah, it shuffled everyone.
Well, that's
it
cool.
went Rachel, me, then other people. Yeah, just go. Let's do it.
We're just gonna okay. So, what were some of the major things that you guys were like most impactful to you about? There's so much to unpack with this Vader and Kenobi, but I want to know kind of what is most important to you guys in seeing it. And Rex, you're the first one, so let's see what you got, man. Show me what you got.
Show me what you got. Disqualified.
Okay, one of the things that was most important for me was probably the way that they kind of produced this scene as a whole, because it was very easy to just follow some linear sequence when they go from left to right fighting all the way, but instead you have this kind of movement that follows them all around that area, and that it changes from the angle, and then now you're behind the rock, now you are in front of them, now you're doing something different. And the lighting that they chose for this scene as well helped a lot, because
great,
you had this very dark background which has a neutral color, neither blue or red, and so it helped a lot to show the light versus dark side of the Force on this battle, to kind of have the contrast of Obi-Wan and Vader. And I think that was just amazing, and of course seeing just how freaking insane levels of force you had between them. One thing that I really liked, kind of outstanded more for me, was when Vader goes to the ground and then uses the Force to create cracks.
Oh yeah, he Hulk smashes the ground.
Yeah. yes. I mean, that reminded me of that Force skill that Mace Windu had, where he can find cracks or the weakest points in certain structures. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was the same, but that reminds me a lot of that. And of course, he has the high ground in that scene.
Shatterpoint is what it's called. That's the.
Oh yes.
Yes. Yeah, very very cool, man. Very cool. Yeah. Does anybody know what planet they fought on? Did they say?
No. I don't. Kind of like that one from Rogue One with all the rain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think. Edu. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Edu.
Yeah, I thought they picked a really good place to fight. I mean, they had to. You got the Battle of Mustafar, which is the coolest freaking planet to fight on. And I think they did it justice with finding another planet that was just as cool.
Well, I just loved how dark it was. You know what I mean? It just accentuated every hit. From when the blue and red hit to the purple blast. I mean, it
worked so
the dark
beautifully
background was
too.
Yeah, I'm definitely I won't say I'm a simp for much, but I'm definitely a simp for the lighting on Vader with the sabers. To me, that is the coolest thing, seeing the blue and the red clash, and sometimes there's purple in there and stuff like that.
Well, even during the dialogue,
the
how close they were. Man, I mean, even on Obi, it's blue, but then it's red, and then when he turns his head more, it's all blue. It's almost like the shift between the Force and the
Did you
side.
notice in the dialogue though when his mask is cut and he says, "I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did." And then as soon as it slowly starts to turn red, he says, "The same way I will destroy you." It immediately takes his face.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes.
You are succumbed. There's no way.
Yeah, that scene,
and you can tell when he
tough.
said "I did," this little wicked smile came over his face.
Yeah,
it was
very very
like
dark.
this little psychopathic,
Anakin is gone. I am what remains.
Oh yeah, it's that scene. I'm still recovering from that scene. I watched it before we did this, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just watch it real quick, refresher, all that stuff. And I was like, after it was done, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have watched it. I was like,
I just want to sit in my room and cry.
Yeah.
I literally just kind of sat there for a minute. It was just like, man.
Well, that's why I had to put on Solo. I mean, just something.
Yeah, you need something a little bit more upbeat,
Right.
Yeah. I loved the clashing of the blades, the blades hitting and the sparks really hit that old school moment for me. Yes. We don't really see that anymore, and you have this binding of new Star Wars, old Star Wars, this clashing. Obviously, the lighting was going to be one of the things I hit. I think everyone else has already hit that, but that clashing of blades and the sparks is something that really hit to me that we don't see anymore in a majority of Star Wars, and that just, to me, showed like the sheer force with every hit that they had. It wasn't, hey, yeah, we're just sparring a little bit. It was, we are here to destroy each other, and we are full force hitting these lightsabers with the sparks and everything. That just really got me.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. It's a man. This they really it's hard to find words for it. They just did so well with this thing, man. It's like, man. Nick, did you have anything to add to the fight? I know we've kind of been bouncing all over the place, but I think you were the next in line.
I just love the inclusion of the lines that were said at the beginning specifically.
Oh yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Twilight of the Apprentice from Rebels. Just the words that were shared between the two.
Oh yeah, when he's like I will do what I must, and then he goes, then you will die. And I was just like,
yeah. Oh, it's like a combination of Revenge of the Sith and Twilight of the Apprentice.
Oh yeah,
it's super cool to hear. It
was great. I am the scene with Obi-Wan with the rocks too. I don't know if I've seen anybody see this, but like watching it the second time, kind of having it was very going to a different franchise. For me, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I really recognized that with Spider-Man, because like in the comics and in the movie, he's like underneath rocks, and then he has all these, like, with great power comes great response. He has all these kind of flashbacks to lifting up all the rocks off of him and then going to save the day. And I don't know, I really like that parallel that they kind of did, that where he almost gets like a, you know, this like motivational thing to like keep going, just be like, hey, don't give up. You know, you hear all these different voices and stuff like that, and then he's just like, I'm not gonna let this get me, and he just rocket launches all those rocks off of him, and I thought that was like the coolest thing.
It's all that weight bearing down on him, and he's finally released that weight,
yes,
accepted who he is, and shed that weight off of him to then go into being that person that he is. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful.
Now, if I recall, this is the first live action, not animated, none of that, live action force repulse ability on screen, because we've only seen that from Starkiller. And then in Battlefront 2 with Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like something else that would have had it, but I can't off the top of my head. Brad, what did you think about do you have anything else to add to the, like I said, I know everybody's been bouncing around kind of adding their input, but did you have anything else to add?
No, I think we're kind of covering it all, so.
Right on. I'm going to go through, I just want to make sure everybody's included, so I'm going to go through and hit everybody. Grant, did you have anything else?
No, No, I didn't. No.
Are you sure about that?
I'm good for now.
Save it for later.
Yeah, I'm good for now.
Oh, can I add something about the
No, your time is gone. I'm sorry. You can't add anymore. It's not. What you have, man? What you got?
Yes. This is not related to the Star Wars franchise itself. It's just that this force ability was actually included in the Angry Birds Star Wars 2 video game. It was something that Vader had. It was his unique ability, and I was trying to remember where I saw that from, because I knew that it was Star Wars, but it was just now when Jake called out the name of that skill, when I reminded, it's in Angry Birds. In that game,
Repulse?
That ability. Yes. You can play as Vader, as one of the characters, and he's as a pig. You know, he was flying, and then you click it, and attracts all of the stuff, and then click it again, and boom, blows it all the place.
I'm still waiting for that Angry Birds Rex helmet, man. We gotta get.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
As soon as you said you wanted to make one of those, I was like, all right, bet, man. I want to see that.
Coming soon, 2022 probably.
Yeah, I see you. What are you printing right now? I see in the background you got something printing.
I am printing a chest plate for my Mandosaurus armor, because I didn't like the one I have, so I wanted something that looked better.
Is that a CR10?
Yes, on S4.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Thanks.
So Max, I lied. I do have one thing. The one thing that I loved in this was the combination of lightsaber and force abilities that I don't think we've seen in other movies.
Yeah.
I think we have seen oh, I just got beat, I'm going to jump, and I do a force jump, or I'm going to do a force push. This was the first time that I felt like we saw fighting and force abilities all unanimously. I know we see that in the games, right? I'm going to dodge and hit and do a force ability because I'm controlling the character, but I don't think we've seen that cinematically. And I thought that was beautiful. I'm going to throw a rock and hit with my blade and then do a force push. And I just thought it was a beautiful combination of actual, like, how I envision a Jedi. We talk about the Force and we talk about lightsabers, and I feel like both have been mutually exclusive up to this point. And now we have this combination of abilities and fighting all together, which I thought was great.
Well, to play off that, what I really hope that they're doing is the Old Republic cinematics do that extremely well, and everybody goes crazy for those. So what I'm hoping is that Lucasfilm is listening to that and is going to give us more, because I couldn't agree more. The amount of like being able to, like, the Force, like, it's not all, I mean, yes, lightsabers are cool, lightsaber combat is epic, but the Force is, I think, is equally as cool. And when you combine them together, I mean, I think like you were saying, the scene speaks for itself. I mean, this was like one of the coolest fight scenes I haven't seen in like forever. I mean, I feel like it's been so long since we've seen an awesome epic like lightsaber duel on like live action, you know? Yeah.
And force abilities and lightsabers aside, in episode 5, Vader kicks Reva back, and then in this episode, Vader just punches Obi-Wan like square in the face.
Oh yeah.
For the hell of that.
Regardless of force abilities, here's some physicality.
What Grant was saying with force abilities, I mean, we've only seen a certain amount of abilities in a given fight. Duel of the Fates, we had Maul throw like a battle droid at like the wall to open the gate. He did his butterfly kick, and then he force pushes Obi-Wan into the reactor pit. And then episode 2, Dooku uses lightning, and then he crushes down this big thing for Yoda to like hold. But we've not seen the caliber of rock barrage, burying someone alive, the distant force pushes. This is some pretty balanced stuff, like you were saying, with the even force abilities with lightsaber fights.
Well, I think it also pays homage to the originals too, because Vader uses a lot of like force abilities. Like, he's always throwing stuff at Luke. Like, like literally every fight.
Even in the comics too. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, can I just take my turn right now then?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I mean, I think that all of that like completely makes sense and like fits into A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, right? So like in A New Hope, he said, like, the first thing he says to Obi-Wan when they see each other is, "Hey, when you left me, I was still the learner. Now I'm the master." So like, this fight had to be epic, and Obi-Wan had to win so that line would still make sense, because previously their last encounter was on Mustafar, right? And Anakin gets wrecked, and that line makes sense there, right? And then when Vader's like fighting,
he was still
Luke
the learner, but
back,
not to this.
He's like,
yeah.
And when Vader's fighting Luke in Empire Strikes Back, he's like, "Oh, I'll try throwing stuff. That's a good trick, right?" And throws like all those blocks, right?
I've never thought that in that scene, but now every time I watch that scene, I'm just gonna be like, "I'll try throwing things. That's a new trick. That's a new trick."
Neal, did you notice? Did you notice when Vader was burying Obi-Wan with those rocks? He was the high ground.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vader finally was the high ground.
That's when he was on that edge. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that almost more than hello there. I now have the high ground.
My favorite iteration between the whole blending of scenes is starts at episode 2 when you first see Obi-Wan's face when he hears Anakin is alive. You immediately see Vader wake up in the back tank. He's like a compass. He's a straight dart, and he's coming for you, man. He's not stopping. He almost forgot about this guy until he finally connected, realizing, okay, that is Anakin. He is still alive, and now he's this machine that I created. Yeah. Reva's obsession with Vader, Reva's obsession with Kenobi inspired Vader to be re-obsessed. So when you go back to this whole like rose and thorns thing, you constantly being pushed back, you really see that struggle with Vader. And right at the beginning of the episode, when they're trying to discourse them, Obi-Wan's like, "I'll be the distraction." Vader's like, "No, we're going after him. Turned the whole Star Destroyer after this tiny little ship.
Oh, dude, and the Grand Inquisitor's face when he said, he's like,
oh, he was pissed.
Dude, he was so salty.
Are you mad? Why are you mad?
Another thing I thought about when you guys were talking is like mixing lightsabers and force abilities and stuff. Is that like, so in military conflicts, like when you're fighting an enemy, the tactics you start with are never the tactics you end with, because you learn about how to fight those people, right? And so like in Phantom Menace, it's the first Sith that have encountered in a millennium, right? It's this violent lightsaber battle, right, where they just show off and people die. Then Yoda shows up and Dooku shows up, and they kind of, I'll deliver some power at you and you deliver some power at me, and then we'll fight. And it's like their like tactics of fighting one another have like amped up the game, right? And they've really like learned how to force fight after not having had to do it for, I don't know, 1,000 years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, even being a Jedi and practicing those abilities, Dooku was Yoda's apprentice. So even him not having Sith eyes, he was still pissed at him. He was like throwing lightning at him, and Yoda was like, much to learn, you still have. I mean, it's perfect poetry. It's perfect.
I know we're talking about Kenobi too, but I really hope in Tales of the Jedi we get a young Dooku and Yoda going off on adventures together as master and apprentice. Like, I would
Qui-Gon.
love to see that. Like, but even before Qui-Gon, I want to see like young Dooku, like when he's like still. I don't know if Dooku was ever optimistic, but when he was still like in the Jedi, like when he was still about it, you know, because we kind of see Dooku, you see him and Plagueis when he's like flickering, right? And then you see him in Attack of the Clones when he's completely lost faith in the Jedi, you know? So I think it'd be cool to kind of see that. But we'll get back to Kenobi. I just wanted to sprinkle that in there because Tales of the Jedi is coming soon. But Hannah, what did you think? Do you have anything else to? I know we've all kind of been just chiming in here and there, but do you have anything else to add to the battle?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt anyone. So
no, you're fine. You're fine.
It was this. I like, so bringing up the point of the force abilities and the lightsaber combat. I feel like that kind of showed it was more realistic. Like to me, it felt more realistic. Like, hey, this actually is your enemy, and you want to literally end them. You do not want them alive at all. So you're going to throw. You're on a planet with a shit ton of rocks. You're gonna throw them at your enemy. You want to crush them to death because it is your like worst enemy. So I felt like that was super realistic. And then on top of all of that, it was the way they were moving kind of was the same as in episode 5 when Anakin and Obi-Wan were doing their little training session. I noticed that it was really similar to that, with them going back to back and pushing their lightsabers and using the force against their lightsabers. And it, I don't know, I really liked it. It was really nice to see that dynamic of when he was a Padawan to Obi-Wan when Vader turned to the dark side and how strong he is. Obi-Wan still was more smarter, I would say, than Anakin, who still was going off of the pure, I need the rage, I need to kill you, I will be aggressive, and not really paying attention to the defense part. And that's why Kenobi crushed him.
Oh, yeah.
Or not crushed him, but like,
I mean, he
weakened him enough.
He put some definitely some emotional damage and physical damage.
Emotional damage.
Hannah, you remember at the end of episode 5 when they finally end the training session, Obi-Wan looks at him and he's like, he's smiling because you know he's a teacher. It's foolish, but he says, until you break these mental barriers, you will always remain the Padawan. And Anakin's reaction to that was, you know, I want more. I'm pissed at you for doing this to me. And
it was like a taunt, practically.
Yeah, and then you see episode 6, him walking away from Vader was basically, well, you're always going to be like this. And
yeah, you're always going to be the Padawan.
And Vader, still pissed. Obi-Wan!
Yeah, still mad at it. He's like, you're not about to tell me this.
Yeah, I think
so. You guys just hit two of my favorite points from this entire thing that wasn't involved with this fight, so I haven't brought them up yet. The first one being that I was upset from, I think it was, what was it, episode 3 where we saw Obi-Wan get dragged through the fire, or was it episode 2? Where was it 3? Yeah,
3.
I think it was 3, yeah.
I watched nothing but Vader beat up on Kenobi, and my entire A New Hope experience was ruined because I said it on the podcast. I was like, we've heard this line of when I left you I was but the learner, now I'm the master. It's like nothing about that. He was the learner. He was definitely the master there. And this fight redefined that, right? This fight redefined who was the master and who was the learner. And the second one was Vader calling out to Obi-Wan, not calling out Kenobi, right? Correct. Like we've all heard over and over again, but now he's calling out Obi-Wan. And I thought that it was just kind of like a little revamp of the Kenobi scream that we've all heard and that we've all come to love from the shows. So that was just kind of my little...
Well, that was
once the fight is over thing.
That was one thing that I noticed throughout the whole deal. Whenever he's in front of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's Obi-Wan to everybody else. It was Kenobi. I don't think he. That first name is that personal connection. That last name is just a overall. And even at the very end, well, I don't want to skip through, but the way Vader lays it out to the Emperor, he evaded me. He didn't say he got whooped. He's just like, yeah, he got away. We're going to use all our resources to find him. So, I mean, he got him. He was still working him mentally.
So, man, Ian McDermott, I met this guy right before he was going to be on screen, man. It's so awesome.
That's crazy.
Can I add something with the Emperor? Because I thought this was funny. It was super random, but it was super funny when Vader was just going off about Obi-Wan. The Emperor literally... You seem agitated. The way he said it. Because Vader was just freaking pissed, just going off and ranting. And the Emperor literally just there going, you seem agitated.
Are you done yet? Are
you mad?
Move on from this? Yeah?
Are you
done?
Yeah. Are your feelings taking over? Do we need to have a little talk with some electric?
Are you okay?
One thing I thought was kind of rad is like, how like in Batman, Dark Knight Rises, like Christian Bale's Batman, like he has to all of a sudden want to live, right? To climb out of that pit. He wants to die in that pit, right? But all of a sudden the fear of dying is what is able for him to make that leap from one stone to the next when he's climbing, right? Like I honestly think Obi-Wan wanted to die in the first few episodes. He's like, my life is over. Like I've failed these children. I've failed the galaxy. I failed my best friend, right? I failed my student. I failed all of my friends, and like he wants to die, and that's why Vader can like lift him up and drag him across that lava field, right? And then even Obi-Wan was hoping that was what was going to kill him, and then what was her name? The new character,
Tala.
She blows up she blows up that barrel and they escape or whatever. But like it's when he realizes he has something to live for. Like, oh, these children are going to save the galaxy, not me. You know what I mean? I wasn't destined to do that. They are. This is my destiny. And that's when he rises. That's when he comes out of the pit, right? Is that will to live.
Yeah. Well said.
He quite literally came out of the pit because in Jabim, that hangar, the only way out was the skylight. So,
Rex and Around made this tweet. I'm going to share it with you guys because I thought it was literally the funniest thing that he took from this fight. He was saying here, he's like, I don't care. He's like, canonically, Vader and Obi-Wan have held hands for way longer than they should have. And it was so funny. It's like when he like throws Kenobi, but he like screenshotted it. And I had to throw that in there because I laughed way too hard at this. He's like, I don't care. Canonically, they held hands for a really long time.
Well, I think Hannah made someone made the point earlier. There was physical contact in this fight. We haven't seen that in Star Wars up to this point. Yeah, exactly, right. We haven't seen that.
He straight decked him in the face.
Revenge of the Sith when they're kicking each other on the table, and then they do the deer antler kind of clash, holding each other's lightsabers like that. That's what.
But I mean, not like. I don't.
They don't
feel
just
like
punch people. They don't just.
Contact. Yeah. We haven't had physical contact in this sense, right? And I thought that it was really
not
like,
with Force users.
honest.
Han Solo punched somebody in.
Well, I mean,
if we're being technical, Maul punched Qui-Gon in the face with the middle of his lightsaber.
True.
Tala bonked that stormtrooper.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So talking about Tala and Han Solo, right? Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side. Okay, so they make sense that they make physical contact. But for the Force users, right? For everybody else in the room, I just feel like this was the first fight scene that we had where, like, aside from, you know, the quick jab there, dudes were decking each other, holding each other's hands. Like, I thought it was awesome.
That's why if we ever get
again,
take that quote out of context. These dudes were holding each other's hands. I thought it was awesome.
That's the clip right there. That's the whole clip. I'm going to throw that in the beginning.
It was really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Did you guys notice that they also were using the dialogue from Revenge of the Sith when he was underneath? They were kind of like throwing that in there on top of like new like dialogue.
It was great.
It made my heart hurt just a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
It was just like a quick
heavier.
right into the heart. It was just a.
You know how he like screams Obi-Wan at the end of the fight, like and really drags out that Wan. Did anybody get a con? Like kind of dive out of that?
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they did an amazing job with mashing Hayden's and James Earl Jones' voice together. I mean, I thought that was brilliant because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, for everybody who's watched Rebels, you don't hear Anakin's voice, right? It's own or not Anakin.
No, you do.
Yeah,
you do.
It's a mix as well.
Yeah, when
he's in the mask
gets
split, and he's also in the training hologram.
Yeah.
No, I just meant like during that fight with Ahsoka. I didn't know if it was solely Vader or if you could hear Anakin within that.
You can listen to him saying Ahsoka.
I was gonna say,
I don't
doesn't
think
he
it's
say
his
Ahsoka?
blade, but whenever his mask is cracked, for sure he's that split.
Okay.
Yeah, because he goes Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then
it's been a second since I've watched Rebels, so I was like, I can't remember if he.
Can we talk about the Kenobi split being higher up to show that Vader's helmet taken off has the scar right there?
Yeah, sick.
That was one thing I told my son. It's like, you know, in Return of the Jedi, he's got a huge, you know, just nasty scar. And I was like, it's got to happen here. It has to happen here, you know. Again, that's why this one gets 10 out of 10 because they filled in so much gap and details, you know.
Oh yeah. So kind of moving on from that, we kind of get we won't go over how quickly Obi-Wan got to Tatooine. We're gonna mull over that because that was something I had a problem with because that's
I think it's called light speed.
That was fast.
Extra
light speed to get you there in 2 minutes. That's a hell. This is Fast and Furious light speed for sure.
Luke obviously wasn't running fast enough. Apparently,
remember Luke was just bouncing around on the rock, so we only saw a short portion of that.
Right.
Seeing him
really hours.
Seeing him in his Ben Kenobi outfit though, with the cut cloak and the white with his mullet, reminded me of the 2003 armor.
Oh yeah.
So
Yes.
I haven't read the comics, but someone pointed out that the goggles that he had and that whole outfit he was wearing is the same as one that he wore in one of the comics.
Yeah, here, let me while you guys are
2015.
Bring it up. This is awesome.
Marvel Comics, He actually ends up fighting Black Chrysanthemum on Tatooine.
Yeah, that's when he gets
which I thought they were going to put in the show because they had the costume from ILM in Book of Boba Fett. And that would have made sense because that's how Chrysanthemum got his scar.
Well, hey, season 2. We have.
No, they will not.
Did you say A New Hope? Is that the title?
So we've all seen that. We all seen that tweet.
Oh yeah, Corey's hilarious.
Yeah, issue 15.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a nice cover.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That was a good comic.
There was also that 1/6 figure that came out. I think it was like Mythos.
Oh, the Mythos one.
Gentle Giant, I think.
Yeah.
They do the Mythos statues.
Man, that is awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, but he's got the same goggles, the armor on the back.
I pre-ordered that Vader Mythos that they just came out with the one where his like swords on fire and stuff like that. And I'm like,
he's got the arm damaging.
Yeah, after that he's got like metal toes. Like I didn't know Vader had metal toes, but hey,
coming from a cause.
In the new Greg Pak comic that's out right now, the ongoing Vader series, Palpatine ends up sending him to Mustafar to like fend for himself again. So he ends up like strapping on this super battle droid arm as like a makeshift temporary arm. So he's all bits and pieces when he needs to find
super battle droids. Take him down.
Coming from a cosplay background, what I think is really funny, speaking on those goggles, is that episode was out for like 6 hours, and my entire Instagram newsfeed was just filled with exactly what type of goggles these are. For those that are going like for one-for-one cosplays, these are 1943 aeronautical goggles, and I was like, Oh my God! Really? Like this is what we're focused on?
They're quick with it.
The episode just ended, and this is what we're worried about. You know, like I was worried about the emotional damage of the episode, and someone was out there finding what these goggles were.
I couldn't see because I was crying too much.
It was all glossed over.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that we it kind of comes to an end, what did you guys think? We haven't really talked about Reva this episode. She's a big component of this episode. How do you? So we kind of see. Well, I mean, who knows? We might get a spin-off show of her, but we kind of see her from start to finish now, and I kind of wanted to get what you guys thought of her from this episode and just as the show as a whole, because I know some people like her, some people don't, some people are kind of in the middle of the road. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on her. And again, once again, every time I share on the screen, it shuffles you guys. So Jake, we're gonna go with you to start off.
All right. Like I said, guys, your opinion is completely entitled to you. You may love the Inquisitors. I personally think they're all right. I don't really care too much about the cool as hell concept. Not executed what I wish they would be, because they don't really get to do a whole lot of cool stuff. And I think my lack of speaking of Reva on this podcast is clear to say the point of how I feel about her in the show. I do think she is, out of the Inquisitors that I've seen all the media, I do think she is the most fleshed out character when it comes to the Inquisitors. But I just did not feel the weight behind, a lot of the stuff she did. The whole not killing Luke and then coming to Obi-Wan and being like, I couldn't do it. That is cool. That is like, okay, the Sith basically, the Sith mindset basically has you. You can't go through with that. Sorry, you might hear screaming kids downstairs. My family just got here.
No worries.
But other than that, man, I don't know. I wasn't really that impressed.
Fair enough. Hey, all opinions is like I said, as long as you're just not like, oh, that's bad.
Harping on people for liking something. Yeah, that's
as long as you have constructive criticism, everything is welcome here. You do not. That's the great thing about Star Wars is there's so much of it, you don't have to love all of it. And that's one thing that I stick by. You don't have to be positive all the time. Just make sure when you do say something, which is exactly what you did, you have constructive criticism.
And like I said, though, I mean, hey, she nailed it. Not only a fantastic actor, but she's won, at least in my mind, the title of Best Inquisitor. I think she's a Grand Inquisitor more than Egghead over there.
Well, I mean, and that's
who's not even a canon-looking Talon, but we will digress.
Well, that was my beliefs obviously don't stray very far from yours, because I love the character, I love the concept. Somebody who infiltrates the Empire and works up the ranks and becomes this like. For at least for a little bit, she works the ranks to Grand Inquisitor, which is like super cool. I love her background. I kind of just wish we would have got her in her own story, because I think having her in her own element and in her own story with Vader and everything, like how cool would that be? It's like just have them like go all out with it. I think that would have been great, and maybe we might get that still, and that would have been cool. But I like my constructive criticism would have been is like I do think. She could have had a little bit less screen time, because we have so much to unpack with Kenobi and Vader that I feel like some things with Kenobi and Vader could have. I would have liked a little bit more flashbacks. Either keep the screen time that she had, make the episodes longer, and give us.
I was just gonna say, I don't think we can take away any screen time, because then there's no point of even adding the character into the show. Then it would just be like, okay.
Well, I think she's a good catalyst for Leia. I think her taking Leia instead of, because like who else? Because Vader can't take Leia. Because then that complicates everything, you know. I think
she was perfect spot for Maul, you know.
Oh yeah,
yeah, exactly.
That would have.
We were talking about that last time.
Dang man, you got to come in and throw a wrench into everything. Now I want Maul, but like, God, man, I'm not ready now.
That's what I was hoping for.
I was feeling good. I was like, yeah, you know, I got a bit better. Then you add Maul, and I'm just like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah.
Nick, what did you think about Reva and her whole arc as a whole?
From the start, with her conflicts with Vader and not caring so much about the Jedi either, I was really under the impression that once she survived her duel with Vader and traveled to Tatooine, it would have ended much in the same manner as Maul did in Rebels. She would show up to take justice for her fallen friends and try to kill Luke, which is when Obi-Wan would have arrived to duel with her, ultimately resulting in her defeat. But now with her not being able to bring herself to go as far as Anakin and hearing the forgiveness in Obi-Wan's voice, I really like the direction that it was taken instead, rather than just killing her off just to have another Inquisitor in the series. I mean, I have absolutely no speculations about it, but I'm very curious to see where this character could go from here. Maybe even a small cameo or major cameo in Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, that would be. Well, I think what would be cool with her is like, one, how badass is she? She survives literally 2 lightsaber stabs and keeps going. Like,
right?
You have to be an OG to survive.
Did you say
or Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon couldn't do that.
Did you say plot armor? We talked about this. In the last round table. Plot armor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, she must have some hatred to really survive that. But I think one thing that would be really cool to see from her is, obviously she doesn't have to be a copy and paste of Ventress, but kind of maybe see her take some of the similar routes that Ventress did, because I thought a Sith turned bounty hunter was like the coolest freaking thing.
For sure.
And I think
I wish I had my helmet here to bring it out. I have the one with the yellow tribal.
Oh really, dude? That's okay. Well, and or something, we'll bring it on and you'll show it, because I love seeing
cycle back. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I really think like having her play, I think she's resourceful enough. I think she would be a great bounty hunter. I mean, I'm not saying that's the route that they have to go, but I think that she would, to make a living, I think that would be super cool. But
hey man, even like a mini comic series.
Yeah,
I'd still like to see more of her. Honestly, I just think it was a weird timing.
Yeah, that's hey, I think that's completely fair to say. It just, like I said, I just don't agree with those people that are just like Reva bad, bleh, you know. Like, I don't agree with those people.
So I mean, I think not to like skip or whatever, but I think they had to have somebody, because we know where the Inquisitor goes in Rebels, and I think we wanted to use all of our shock and awe on that last battle with Vader. So they had to have somebody coming in there, you know. Now, granted, giving her as much, well, we didn't get a lot of backstory, but as much backstory as we got was a lot of effort. But, you know, I think just they didn't want to use up the Inquisitor or the Grand Inquisitor, and they didn't want to use up all the Vader, so they had to have somebody. It's kind of the way I'm taking it.
For sure. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it mostly stems from me being, I think me growing up with the prequels and seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then like not seeing them again for like 17 years or however long it was. I think it was just me being a little bit more on the subjective sides of things and being a little greedy of wanting to see more screen time from them. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I think she needed, because Vader can't do it. You could have the Grand Inquisitor do it for sure, but then he also, like, with her being you don't really know how she's going to play out, because she's not in anything else. So with the Grand Inquisitor, like what we were talking about with plot armor, like obviously he can't die. So like you kind of know, like whatever happens, he's not dying, because he's got to be.
I don't know. There's a few episodes everybody was questioning, like, oh my god, what have they done? You know, but
man, people, I was like
coming back.
I was like, they're not gonna retcon Rebels, dude. It's a
tough timeline. It's a tough timeline because Kenobi's in between movies where we already know the fates of the characters. So once you introduce a new character like Reva, that's like the only blind way we can go in to not know about like how she fits in. But we know Vader's gonna live, Kenobi's gonna live. They're gonna have a duel because KK is like duel of the century, and that's pretty much it. That's like all the leads we have. But yeah, like you were saying though, I mean, you can't just denounce it to Reva equals bad character. You have I think it's more of a subplot, honestly, like what Brad was saying. Yeah, I think what happened on Tatooine while they were dueling was important to see what Reva was doing. But that wasn't the main story. I can tell what Disney was trying to go there, because a lot of the screen was on the duel.
Definitely. Grant, what about you?
I thought Reva was a great character. And speaking specifically on episode 6, one of the things that I love coming from a parent background was you watched Owen and Beru, who are not, they know that they're not on, it's not on their level, right? They know that they're going to be facing something that they're not ready for. But still, I'm a parent to a child. I'm someone who I have a responsibility to take care of this child that I love. And I'm going to do everything that I absolutely have to. And you watch that, and I thought that was a beautiful correlation. And when Owen goes, he is mine, or he is my child, or whatever the exact line was, like
that hit me so
that
hard.
Was that like magical parental moment, you know, like of this is my child, whether it's my biological child or not, this is my child that I'm going to protect. And the way that they described it to Luke, I thought was great. Again, coming from a parent background, you don't just tell your kid like, hey, that's not safe. You know, they could have been like, there's someone with a lightsaber who's coming after you, but they like tried to relate it. Hey, there's Tuskens, they're raiding, you need to be ready to go.
I thought that was so cool.
Understood.
I love it.
Yeah, it's something that they understood, right? It's Star Wars. It fits within the Tatooine world. What does Luke, as a 10-year-old, know? What is something that is relatable to him? If I go and I turn to my son and I'm like, hey, bud, aliens are coming. He's going to have no idea what I mean by that at all. But if I'm like, hey, bud, there might be fire and stuff. You need to run away from that. Oh, okay, I know that fire's bad. You know, like, and I thought that was an amazing scene. And then to watch these two people that they're out of their depth, right?
Yes.
This person's coming in with a lightsaber, a double-bladed lightsaber, all that type of stuff, and they're fighting tooth and nail for a child that they care about. Like, I thought that was a beautiful scene overall. A couple things that I hadn't thought of was, we talked about it in the last episode, right? Maul has, because we've talked about Maul now, Maul has a part Inquisitor, part whatever lightsaber in Rebels. So I was like, maybe this is where it happens. Maybe this is where Reva turns and we see in either another show. I honestly, when we saw in episode 5 that she sees that, after seeing Vader, I thought that she was going to be in this mindset of, Vader's going to go try to get this kid. I'm going to go, and one way that I can get against Vader is I'm going to protect this kid. That's what I thought. I thought we were going to see more of this gray Jedi kind of thing with Reva.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we didn't, but I'm not mad about the way that it went. And then once we saw that she wasn't going to be a gray Jedi, that's when I thought we were going to see a Maul kind of step in. I didn't think, again, talking about Kenobi going at like ultra need for speed, light speed. I honestly thought that she was going to go, realize that she couldn't kill Luke still in that rocky canyon. Instead of going and returning to the farm, I thought that she was going to go off deeper into Tatooine and encounter Maul, and Maul was going to do something kind of the same way that we saw at the end of Solo, small Maul cameo of something to keep him relevant. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Just to see a blade light up.
Yeah, just to see a blade light up, or some, something, right? Even if it was just his Phantom Menace speeder, or even to just see one of his little assassin droids come up, just something that those that are true Star Wars fans are gonna be like, that's Maul. Or something, hell, even just to see the same thing of Maul running some random person over in the desert again, like we saw in episode 1. I don't know, that's what I expected, was some Maul cameo there. I did not expect her to carry Luke back, but I did get word. Obviously I know that Luke is going to survive, so when she's carrying Luke, I know that Luke's alive. But one vibe that I really got was when Anakin was carrying his mother back.
Yes, 100%.
And we know, like, obviously we all know now that she was dead. That was something that I got, and I, not only did I slaughter the men, but the women and children too. That was kind of one of the vibes that I got with her carrying him back. I thought it was great. I thought Reva was a great character. What I loved was the unexpected, right? We all know Star Wars. We know the prequels. We know the originals. We know the sequels. But it was the fact that we had something that was new and still felt very Star Wars.
Grant, Maul is my favorite character, by the way. So to hear like that with like the little cameos and stuff like that, I would love every single chance to get Maul on screen animated. This sense, I think it makes sense why they didn't, because if Reva were to go to the homestead, then she would already know that Luke is, or that Maul would already know that Luke is at the homestead if they were to meet there, and that just wouldn't work because Kenobi's not on the planet yet. If Maul were to get an Inquisitor lightsaber to be his half, I would not mind it being Reva's, because I think like I said before, out of the Inquisitors, I like her character development out of all of them. I think it's the strongest.
That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm expecting at this point.
But with Maul coming on screen like that, a lot of Clone Wars and comic book stuff is where he shines the brightest. So to be, I know my parents, when I showed them Solo when it came out, they saw the end, they were like, Maul cameo, whoa, it's Ray Park. Wait, that guy's still alive? And I'm like, yeah, he was in this show called The Clone Wars. He's actually pretty prominent, and they have no idea even what comic, that he's in the comic books.
You need a Crimson Dawn show, man.
In the eyes of casuals, Maul's being butchered. So if they were to bring just a cameo into the Kenobi show, that would just ruin the character. Because seeing him in Solo after The Phantom Menace, they're like, oh, this guy's still alive? Like, if you didn't know anything about, the EU and stuff, you'd be like, why? That just makes, that would just ruin the character.
I think they could do something like they did for Mando season 1 was with Boba teased. Was it season 1?
Yeah.
I think they could do something like that where it's just like a little flicker.
That's what I was expecting. And talking about that, right? Like, Star Wars has been around for what, 50 years now. Like, you're gonna have Star Wars casuals, but I think that we're at the point now where we're no longer playing on Star Wars casuals, right? Like, the Grand Inquisitor. The only people that cared about the fact that the Grand Inquisitor, casuals didn't care that the Grand Inquisitor got stabbed. The only people that were up in arms about the fact that Grand Inquisitor got stabbed were people that know more about Star Wars. So I think that you're at a point now where Star Wars is no longer being made for, like, Star Wars is being made good enough for casuals, but you're having enough things thrown in. Everything that we've talked about in these podcasts, casuals have not picked up on. Little things casuals have not picked up on. I hope at some point here soon, Max, we're going to talk about the hello there. And if we haven't, casuals are not going to pick up on it, but like...
See, I disagree.
Those are the things. You think casuals would pick up on the hello there?
Yes.
Well,
That's such a big meme.
Not even just meme media, but there are a lot more casuals that go and cater to the more hardcore fan knowledge, even if they don't even know where it's from. They've probably heard stuff from somewhere, and the whole idea of catering, we're not catering towards casuals anymore. We're catering towards the hardcore fan audience. So let's use that argument. I mean, if we were to say that, then we would have a lot more cameos, a lot more episodes, and a lot more stuff. We would have gotten a lot more if they were catering to hardcore.
See, and that's where I disagree with you. A show is a show at the end of the day, right? Like, whether Disney produces it or, Lucasfilm or whoever produces it, a show is a show. You're only going to get so much within a show. I don't like that it was 6 episodes. That's a personal opinion. But
I think that's shared by a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? We see The Mandalorian was 8, Book of Boba was 7, now Kenobi is 6. But I think a show is a show at the end of the day, and you have only certain things that you can show. But there's a lot of things that are hit on. If I'm a casual, right, talking about all these force powers that we just talked about with this last fight, no one cares about, no one knows. If I'm a casual, I don't know anything about the games. I don't know anything about Clone Wars, if you want to claim on the casual standpoint. But we're referencing all of those things, right? Things that are, I truly believe a lot of things in this show were a lot of fan service. We again saw the homestead. We again saw the little, T-47 model that Luke has. Like, that's fan service things. Those are small detail items that a casual fan doesn't care about. If I'm a casual fan and I watch A New Hope, Luke taking this one model spaceship for 2 seconds while he's talking to C-3PO, my focus is on the conversation with C-3PO, not that he has this little thing. So when I see that, right, I'm assuming a majority of the people here got an emotional reaction when they saw Obi-Wan Kenobi get this from the Jawa, right? We had that emotional connection. A casual is not going to see that. I think that there was a lot of things that were thrown in here that were for true fans. I'm not saying that the show is made for true fans. And again, my true fandom scale falls between originals and like major movies and legends, right? I think that there's only so much that they're going to throw in from legends. Again, we had 1977 to when was Phantom Menace? 2001.
99.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about it in the last one. 99. So you're from 77 to 99. That you have this large bridge of comics and books and movies and this, that, and the other. So I really do think they're trying to include some of that stuff. I don't think that they're going to be able to include all of it because, like we've said,
without a doubt, they are clearly ripping from comic books. I mean, Rise of Skywalker was cutting throat Dark Empire with cloning Palpatine. Yeah. It's cut throat. It's like not even hidden at this point.
So
like my dad though, who's watched the original trilogy though, he's a casual. That's all he's only had the movies. I've recently just started getting him into the shows. He noticed that T-15 Skyhopper right away.
Oh, well, that's good. T-15, that's what it is, not 45. I don't know. I'm an idiot. I don't know. I think that there are a lot of kind of like little hidden details that we as more in-depth fans are picking up on. And I do think that it's really good. I've talked about it in probably every single podcast. I wish that they would just make a Star Wars show, because Reva would be a great character within there, right? You know, I could, just like Game of Thrones, I could focus on a couple characters for a little bit, and I could jump across to another area and focus on those characters, and then we could jump across. But instead, we're getting these smaller shows, and that's fine. I think that they're wonderful because, what's my major quote? Star Wars is Star Wars, right? So I love every single aspect of it. So I've thought that it's great up to this point. I thought that this would have been a great point, that we could have inserted a small Maul cameo. We've shown one small Maul cameo in a canon movie. Show another small one, and then hopefully get more Maul for those people, because obviously he's a major loved character from everyone that talks about him. Major loved character.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hannah, what did you think about Reva and her arc?
I thought it was super interesting. From her being a youngling of Order 66, because personally I've always been curious about what would happen if a youngling actually escaped. Like, what did they do if they did not get slaughtered? And Reva showed us. She not only was a bad bitch to get into the freaking Empire, and then up her ranks to Grand Inquisitor for a little bit. My only thing is, why did Anakin let her? If he knew that she was a youngling, he really was like just letting her do it. So that was the part where I was like, that really picked at my brain, because I was like, Anakin really was just toying with her, like, hey, you were a youngling that I was supposed to slaughter, but sure, you can come be an Inquisitor for me. I don't know, I thought it was very interesting. Her character was very interesting. I didn't dislike her. I really liked the character. It was a nice addition. And I just really liked her story of, it's different. It's different than what we have seen, because we see all the youngling memes and all the youngling stuff.
Master Skywalker.
But to actually... I can't break out the lightsaber. It's not.
That's my favorite
right
turn
now.
on.
Big sad.
Yeah.
Big sad.
That's my favorite Profi soundboard.
Oh, I do it every time I come on Max's podcast. I always grab it and I go, Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? And then when you when it flashes on clashes, it's the kids screaming. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Anyway, but it is interesting to see the take they did with her. From her being, she was a youngling, and she literally infiltrated the Empire and made her way up. All is revenge. All is revenge against Vader. But when the episode, at the end of episode 5, when she found that, the only thing that I was expecting was, I expected her to go to Tatooine, but my train of thought was that she was going to go to find Vader, to try to fight Vader. But she didn't. Because I thought that my whole thought process was that she was going to follow Kenobi, because she thought Vader was going to follow Kenobi to Tatooine to go protect Luke. So I was curious to see what they were going to do on Tatooine, and I was really happy that she took a mercy stance, like being like, you know what, this isn't who I am. Like, I'm not a child murderer. She's an adult murderer.
Well, she's
but
not Anakin.
A child murderer.
Yeah,
she's not.
She's
Anakin.
also
That's
not being redeemed from Sith. She's being redeemed from Inquisitorius, which is just an angry Force wielder. Sith is like a possession you cannot. It took a lot just to get Anakin out of what he was dealing with.
Yeah, it was nice to see how it took. How she was like, well, I didn't. What was the word that she used? Can't think of it. I didn't not redeem, but get revenge for
Justice.
The other young Justice. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I could not find the word. But yes, justice for her fellow younglings. But I was like, my whole thought process was, I'm glad she didn't, because what would she get from killing another youngling?
Right.
Like I was really glad that it was more of a focus on, I'm not gonna do that because I'm not Anakin, which is the whole, I don't want to be Anakin in the first place. I want to be Grand Inquisitor to revenge and, kill him.
Definitely.
So I did like her character.
Right on. Rex, what about you, man?
Oh well, for instance, I actually liked her character from the beginning. I mean, there wasn't much to judge in 5 minutes of screen time anyway. But I really like on this episode how closer to the ground she felt now that the dark side was kind of leaving her. That she was much more of a human rather than this powerful Sith. And I really like the way that Beru and Owen fought her, because it was very much what any normal person would do to protect their family. And this also made me kind of get these theories or not, if they could actually stand their ground against the stormtroopers in A New Hope. To know if they actually gave them some fight or if they were just burnt as we saw, because it was just 10 years and they grew up in Tatooine, so they weren't just people who were not prepared to fight. So I now, after this episode, part of me thinks that they both actually gave them a good fight before. Well,
I think Boba Fett killed him, honestly. If we're that's a whole other topic for another. Yeah,
Boba
that's a
Fett,
whole
no disintegration.
Yeah, that was it hit a little too close to home, and they were disintegrating. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. I really like they pulled a They were definitely pulled a Vin Diesel. They're like, for the family, and like took up the stance. But yeah, man, that's awesome. Neal, what did you think about Rebels Arc?
Yeah, I am also like not a huge fan of the Inquisitors and just like their place in Star Wars. However, that doesn't mean that I didn't like the character Reva, and I kind of came around, I guess, to the Grand Inquisitors. The reason I didn't love them is they just kind of felt crammed in. Like, you don't see them in the original trilogy. They weren't like a thing, right? But like in Rebels, you hear Dave Filoni say, well, the Inquisitors are just to preserve the integrity of Darth Vader. So like his little cartoon action heroes who go on these little fruit catching adventures every day, right? They, if they were to go up against Darth Vader, it would just weaken him as a character and as a villain, right? So he had to add the Grand Inquisitor, the Inquisitors, and I always liked the Grand Inquisitor. I thought he was really cool. I'm really glad they didn't do their little helicopter lightsaber thing. I was never a fan of them flying across the screen. I kind of think, physics in Star Wars isn't really a thing. There's no theory of relativity, and you can travel everything's in real time. You know what I mean? So you can't really say it's physically impossible for a lightsaber to a helicopter, because you can do whatever you want in Star Wars, right? However, Kenobi, really, I kind of like the Inquisitors after Kenobi, because you see them bickering and grasping for power, and that's what the Sith. That's why the Sith have the rule of two, right? And that's probably why you don't see them in the original trilogy. I bet you they all just killed each other.
That's why you will never see the Inquisitorius be Sith as well, because of that constant grab for power. That's already been done before in the Old Republic.
And
Palpatine knows this.
Graduate to black belt. Right. There's only 2 black belts, and it's the 2 of them, and they won't let them graduate, right? And also, I didn't love we have 2 lightsabers right through the stomach, Grand Inquisitor lightsaber, right? And then he shows up and he's okay, and then Reva gets a lightsaber through the stomach, and shows up and she's okay. And so that was kind of Han Solo gets a lightsaber through the stomach, and then he's gone, and then Qui-Gon gets a lightsaber in the chest, and he's gone. And so I had to be okay with it, because George Lucas, when he came out with this whole thing, he's like, what if I made a soap opera in space? And what is the biggest theme of soap operas? People dying and coming back, right? So he's done it, the biggest soap opera in space. And so I kind of came around to the Inquisitors through all of that. Now, I actually liked Reva's character despite all of those things. I think that we need to have room for new characters in Star Wars, like, or else it will just die, because those actors want to move on to other things. As much as they're stewards of those characters, and as much as we like celebrate Hayden coming back, the reason I love Hayden coming back is he got to come back in like a positive way. You know, like Ahmed Jabbar, is that his name? The guy that played Jar Jar? Like, he's never coming back, right? There's never going to be like a Jar Jar series where he comes back in like a positive light.
You don't think Darth Jar Jar's going to come back?
And all of his like, you know, awful stuff in the media won't ever be undone. You know what I mean? But Hayden like got to come back and like welcomed back and had this like positive like healing experience, you know, after being like a steward of Anakin Skywalker all these years, you know. And Mark Hamill, you can tell like that guy's bitter about the way he was treated in The Last Jedi. Like, he's openly bitter about it, and has retconned some of it, but how much of it was, you know, Disney's influence, you know?
Right, for sure.
But so what I really loved about, anyways, I won't get off on that. I liked Reva's arc. I did like the home defense scene at the end. It really reminded me of that comic. Jake, you'll have to remind me which one it was, where Maul shows up at the farm.
Visionaries.
Hunting Kenobi.
Old wounds, yeah.
Right, and follows Kenobi there, and he's fighting Kenobi and says, "Oh, you must be protecting someone," and then Owen like straight up snipes him and blows his brains out. Like, it was just freaking awesome.
That's hardcore.
It really reminded me of that. And so I kind of wanted Reva's head to just get blown off by a regular person. I think regular people in Star Wars are completely overshadowed, and that's why I love, like, I'm so excited for Andor, because the people, like, the superheroes are gone. Nobody's here for superpowers. The regular people step up, take matters in their own hands, and try to save the galaxy. And so, like, I'm stoked for that. So I would have loved to see Owen straight up blow her head off. Not because I don't like the character, or because I'm certainly not, you know, I certainly don't agree with people attacking that actor on her social media. Like, I think that is despicable
gross.
And hateful and nasty, and you have no right to hunt someone down and bully them that way. I think, you know, she was really accredited for what she did in a version of Macbeth, and she's obviously a good actor. She's on TV and you're not. Like, I'm sorry, you know. Like,
straight up.
Not just any TV, but Star Wars.
Oh,
Star Wars.
Space TV. People always make the argument. They're like, dude, if I lived in Star Wars, I'd want to be here. I'm like, you wouldn't want to live in Star Wars. Everyone dies. Everybody dies. You either get by wildlife, you come across an angry, Force-sensitive or gang, or you live long enough to see an empire sprout and piss them off. You die anyway. There's no way you don't die.
Oh yeah. Well, to kind of wrap.
And how many people just like died walking the front? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't hear what you said. You kind of cut out a little bit. Can you repeat what you just said?
You were talking about all the people dying, and I said how many skeletons are probably in the desert of Tatooine from people just like trying to walk to the store.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Between skeletons and freaking lightsabers left on Tatooine.
I know.
A lot.
Yeah. That's a desert to dig in.
But that's why the Jawas are there, man. They
no kidding.
And then you dig for a black melon and one of those four-legged minotaur come out.
Those things are so scary. Holy crap. But we're sitting at about almost an hour and 40, so it's been a good thing to talk with all you guys. But to kind of wrap this up, we can't not talk about the hello there, of course. We'll talk about that. But also, we got the Emperor cameo, and we got Liam Neeson returning back as Qui-Gon. Like, man, you guys know this. I've said it literally on every single roundtable that we've done, that this show would be made for me. I'm a big Qui-Gon. I got the Qui-Gon. So I know he's hard to see because he's in the back of that Day-12, but I got a Qui-Gon hot toy. I'm a big Qui-Gon fan, and I'm definitely not ashamed to admit, dude, I cried like a baby when I saw him. I was just like, no way, man. They brought him back. He's all sassy. He's like, took you long enough. Like,
the first line, just this little sassafras.
I know. I was like, it's Qui-Gon. Let's go. But
dude, when I saw the back of his head, though, I didn't even think of like Clone Wars. My brain immediately clicked like a flash in my head immediately sprouted of young Ewan McGregor standing next to him on the Trade Federation ship, just a spitting image, boom, really quick, and then I'm watching the show and it's just him now.
Oh
it's
yeah,
insane.
I wanna. If we do, I'm not really an advocate for a season 2 of Kenobi, but if we do, I would love for it to focus on kind of like the wills of the Force and Obi-Wan getting the training from Qui-Gon, and really learning about the spiritual side of the Force. I feel like that's something that Star Wars, they've kind of always played on it. They've kind of given us a little bit, but they've never like full force like dove into it. And I would love something along the lines of that. But Nick, what did you think about seeing Qui-Gon?
I mean, it was such a brief cameo appearance from him that I didn't have too much to think about it. I mean, it was just so shocking because I'm so glad we got to see his physical form rather than just his voice.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I know Liam Neeson was quoted saying that. Shoot, what did he say? He said something along the lines of, if he wanted to come back, he would do it in physical form. He wouldn't want to portray the character in a way that would just be the voice. He would want to come back as like a physical form, which I'm glad it did happen like that.
I'm so glad he loves that character too. Like it just warms my heart that he loves Qui. He's like, it's like I'm down to come back for like anything. He's doing the voice acting for Tails. I think his son's doing like a younger version of him or something like that.
Really?
Too. Yeah, I think his son. They said his son was going to play something in it. Like when actors really love the characters that they play, I don't know, especially with Star Wars, there's something about it just warms my heart. But Brad, what did you think about it?
Man, I loved it. I mean, coming off the emotional train of Obi-Wan, talking to Princess Leia, and then you get the hello there, and it's all these happy tears, and it's like you can't get any more. He's gonna head off in this, out to the Dune Sea, and all of a sudden he appears, and for a second he's just trucking and there's nothing there, and then it just slowly it is there. I mean, it's it was amazing.
Oh yeah, to see Obi-Wan's face light up too. He's like, Qui-Gon, he's trying to talk to him the whole time, and his face just explodes.
And when he asked him, where have you been, and he said, I've been here the whole time, and again goes back to being piled under that rocks. He had so much regret and not hate, but just regret on the way the last 10 years had gone, and now he had opened his mind, and that's what Qui-Gon's like, hey, you got to do your part before I show up, and
you weren't ready to see
here
me.
We are.
Yeah, dude. Grant, what about you, man?
I thought it was a beautiful scene. I felt more empowered by the hello there than by the Qui-Gon return, but the one thing that I've been looking forward to, especially after talking to you, Max, and all these roundtables, was I've been waiting for that Qui-Gon, right? We've had it in every episode he's reached out to Qui-Gon, whether it was through his dreams or directly reaching out or whatever. We have had that look. And this was one of the moments that I loved about it. It was a moment that we weren't expecting it, right? We talked about the hello there. The first time that Leia goes and says, come on, Dad, say, introduce yourself or say hello. And I think everyone was like on edge, like, here we go. This is the moment. And he's like, hello. And everyone was like super defeated, and then we keep having these Qui-Gon moments of like everyone's like, okay, he's calling on Qui-Gon. It's episode 4. We're about to get a Qui-Gon, and we didn't. And now it's not when he's calling to him, but it's that like just that random moment. And I thought that it was beautiful in the sense of, yes, I know that you're a Star Wars fan. Yes, I know what it is that you want, but I'm going to give it to you in a moment that you're not ready for it. Instead of making it super predictable or whatever, I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you the fan service. I, as a Star Wars fan, as a creator, right, Dave Filoni, and they're Star Wars fans to begin with. So they want to give you the same thing that you want, but they want it to be fun and exciting in the way that Star Wars was when you discovered it. And that's exactly what they did. I think with that and with the hello there, we weren't ready for either of those. I don't know about you guys. I was emotionally damaged from that lightsaber fight. I was not ready for any of these other things. And I got the two things that I've wanted the entire series in the final 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah, they just sprung it on us. It was crazy. Yeah. Because I was like you. I was like, oh man. I was like, they're not gonna do Qui-Gon. And I was like, And then we get that hello there, and then we get it's like double dose. We get like the hello there and the Qui-Gon, and I'm just like, oh, I'm like freaking out. I'm crying. Oh, it was
yeah. Every time I thought the episode was over, I would look back and see I had like maybe another 20 to 10 minutes, another 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And every time I looked, there was just another surprise, one after another. It was great.
How else can you break
a surprise
me, Star
to be
Wars?
sure, but a welcome one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Hannah, what did you think about seeing Qui-Gon?
I loved it. It was good to finally, as he was talking through the series about talking to Qui-Gon or being like, hey, Master, I need you at this point. And just like going back to Revenge of the Sith at the ending, how Yoda was telling Obi-Wan that you need to learn how to talk to your master. It kind of just left us at that. That was it. So it was nice to fill in that hole, I would say. It was nice to like fill or see what happened afterwards, because from the gap between Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope, it is, well, you're going to figure out how to talk to Qui-Gon he Force Ghost himself out before Vader hit him. So it was nice to see that it was his journey to fulfill it before Qui-Gon would show himself. So it was more of like a, hey, I noticed that you finally are ready to learn the stuff from Qui-Gon.
Oh yeah. It's like when you're ready to see, the path will become clear. Also, too, the fact that he's like going into Beggar's Canyon, where like Anakin was like racing the pods. I thought that was like a really nice little subtle nod to the Phantom Menace too, because it's like Qui-Gon plus the canyon. But Rex, what did you think about it, man?
Oh well, first of all, about the hello there, I wasn't expecting to see it because before the show started, I wanted to see that phrase said by Ewan as his introductory quote or whatever to the show. Like his first line has to be hello there, but then I saw the tone that the series had, and then I was, okay, the hello there definitely does not fit here. I was not expecting him to greet Luke like that with a hello there, because I mean, I was just expecting the show to cut right there and then roll credits or whatever, but I was just having that stupid smile for 10 minutes or something like that after just listening to him saying that. And I actually had to defer with Qui-Gon, because I did not give myself the chance to be excited, because at first I saw this little like slowly vanishing effect, and I was just cleaning the screen of my computer because I thought it was dirty, and then I saw, oh no, it is actually a Force Ghost. For some reason,
that dirt is glowing. What the
it
hell?
must be uranium. Then I think it is not dirt. No, and I don't know why, but my mind went to think that it was actually Obi-Wan's Force Ghost presenting to Obi-Wan for whatever reason. I don't know what was happening in my mind, but I was okay. Interesting callback. Then I saw the face, not the face, the hair before. And I was, oh, that's Liam Neeson. He has to be Qui-Gon. And then just looking at him on screen after, 23 years. That is something just so amazing.
That's crazy.
Even though I didn't realize at first, but it was cool to have him back, and then just to listening him talking. It was just something beautiful to have, And I think it's kind of weird to think that Qui-Gon was kind of just chilling in the first lobby while Obi-Wan was burning versus Vader and all of that stuff. He was, okay, yeah, good luck. You can do this. You can handle this. And then the way he appeared, you just weren't ready yet.
Yeah, I think the way the Force Ghost works, like they can only really appear when you're like absolutely ready to like see them.
I was just gonna say about that. You can call out to them, but there's no guarantee. You gotta, like what Grant was saying with the subtle nuances. If you watch Empire Strikes Back after the Wampa Cave, when Luke finally gets out of there, he sees Ben, and Ben tells him, go to Dagobah, and then he's like, what? Ben, what? Wait, Ben, he just came out of nowhere, man. And that's perfect right there. That's perfect.
Oh yeah. Neal, what did you think about seeing Qui-Gon and Ewan saying hello there?
Yeah, I like both. Yeah, I probably could have gone inside the series and been happy even if he hadn't have said hello there. I would have been happy. Yeah, I thought it was well placed. Like, you don't want him to just say it for no reason. Like,
right.
like I have phrases I stick to, and my kids will probably make fun of me when I grow up for all the phrases I say, but they're like appropriate at the time. You know what I mean? Like you don't just,
just saying it for saying its sake.
Right. And but I did get a flashback when I was a kid. So I was in 6th grade when The Phantom Menace came out, and I remember at A Bug's Life at the preview, and I saw Qui-Gon introduce Anakin Skywalker meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. And when I was in 6th grade, I shit a brick in the theater because I was like, oh my goodness, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are being introduced in this moment, and this is that movie, right? And so like I kind of got that kind of vibe when he was like, do you want to meet him?
Oh my God, right?
And especially like after we just had like Obi-Wan, like just tell. So I'm a foster parent, and my children are related to me. They're in a relationship that's similar to being an uncle. So like when Obi-Wan is like talking to Leia about her real parents, like that's really important for children, like for foster children and adopted children, to know their heritage and to know where they came from and to know who their parents are. But to also for her to glance and see this beautiful family that's brought her in and acknowledge her place there and that these people love them. Like I was like, that drew such an emotional like that I couldn't. So when I see Obi-Wan approach Owen and saying, okay, I have no place in this fatherhood here, even though I know this family and I love this family and this boy's father was my brother, right? You're his caretaker now and I have no place here. You're going to take care of him. And then for him to go, well, you want to meet him. And then for him to say, hello there, it's perfectly natural. And I was like, I got that whole vibe of when I was a kid in the theater, like, hey, Luke Skywalker is being introduced to Obi-Wan. Obviously, Obi-Wan knows who he is, but I actually would love to see a Obi-Wan season 2, because I'd love to see, even though Obi-Wan has taken a step back, there's plenty of danger that Luke Skywalker could get into, like sand people, right?
Oh yeah.
So there was this old
hunters.
Right, yeah. There was this old radio series that NPR put on, and like Mark Hamill actually is in it, and it's Star Wars, and they put on this radio drama of A New Hope, and there's all this extra stuff about Luke like not fitting in with his peers and being bullied and being an outcast and racing through Beggar's Canyon and getting lost, and Obi-Wan having to help find his way home. Like all of that would be so awesome to see, like Obi-Wan like in the streets, like 10 steps behind Luke, like manipulating a situation from behind the scenes, like in a way that might build Luke up in like a bully situation or something. Or
maybe less of an Obi-Wan season 2 and more of a a young Skywalker show.
Yeah,
that has Ben behind him.
Right.
I definitely got that same feeling thinking about when he's talking about R2-D2, and he's like, I wonder if he's talking about old Ben. Like clearly there's a connection there.
Right.
All that we've gotten is the introduction. Where's the connection? What else are we gonna see with that? Yeah, I totally agree.
And so like in the visual dictionary, when you read like how Luke made his Return of the Jedi lightsaber, he went to Obi-Wan Kenobi's house and read his journals and built. That's why their lightsabers look so similar, because he read Obi-Wan's journals. And so I'd love to see like Obi-Wan like, oh, I'm gonna write. Luke has no idea what this stuff is. If he falls into this, I'm gonna create all this literature for him to find. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, it would be.
I also think it would be more important in Star Wars for them to explain huge things in their plots, like how Maz Kanata got Luke's lightsaber, now Rey's lightsaber, when you guys call it Anakin's lightsaber, probably. As opposed to throwing in things like hello there and little Easter eggs. It's like, come on, like explain the big thing, right? We can make these little jumps. Like we can make the jump that Leia is inspired by this female warrior. We can make that jump ourselves, but explain the big thing, right? That's just kind of what I'd like to see going forward.
Totally
of course,
agree.
love Qui-Gon. He's the best character in Episode 1. You can't convince me otherwise. I'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, I've said countless times. I think it would be cool to get like a Maz show about her just kind of like going through the universe. And I think there was a lot of interesting stuff with that, whether it be animated or whatever, where you could tie in a lot of like sequel characters, you could try in a lot of original characters and even prequel characters. I think there's a lot. I think with her character, there's so much mystery around her, and she knows a lot, obviously, because she knows about the Jedi and the Sith and all that. I think there's a lot that could be done.
Her and Chewie.
Yeah, her and Chewie. Yeah, where's my boyfriend? But
how did Han lose the Falcon?
Yeah, that's one that I want to find out, because I was just like, I was always a little like, how did he find
garbage will do?
Yeah,
there's more pressing conflicts when it comes to after Return of the Jedi storyline. Besides the sequels, I mean, the comic book touches on like comic books from Dark Horse, multiple stories. There's one called Invasion. Legacy dabbles into it. There's a species called the Yuzang Vong.
Oh yeah.
And there's this organic species that is a galaxy stopper, basically. By the way, it's like Marvel. Like in Marvel, it's Galactus. It's the planet eater. Like this is like a major threat. Yeah. And I think that's something I would want to see more than a Maz show. I would want to see more Heir to the Empire kind of Thrawn, Mara Jade.
I think that's a given. Yeah, I think that's a given. I was just saying in the fact of I don't know how I feel about the stuff not being able to be used the Force on. That's like when this is going off into a whole nother thing that we can talk a whole nother time about Legend stuff, because I'm reading Heir to the Empire right now. I wasn't a big fan of the Islamari. Because I was like, creatures that cancel the Force, but the Force resides in everything. I was like, I don't know. It's like, it kind of seems like plot. But as far as the story goes, story's great. I'm not trying to crap on the story. I'm just saying, I'm a little skeptical when it comes to stuff canceling the Force. But like I said, maybe we'll get on a whole different thing of talking about Legends and stuff like that. We'll have the next Roundtable. Yeah,
in my eyes though, canceling the Force is just like shooting the blaster out of someone's hands. I mean, you're disabling their weapon, and the Jedi's weapon is the Force.
Yeah, but the Force kind of resides in everything, so it's like. But no, like I said, we can have a whole topic, because I'm actually really interested in that. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say on that. If you guys want to pop into that topic, but yeah, we're about 2 hours right now, so this has been a long roundtable, man. I want to thank all you guys for coming on and talking Star Wars with me. As always, it's always great to talk with friends. Let's go around the roundtable one more time and give out all the social media so the good people can find you. And we're gonna start with Jake.
All right, it's just my Instagram, j.t.lovecraft. I built some props, do some lightsaber stuff, whatever.
Very cool. Yeah, dude, you have some really cool stuff. All the stuff you were showing me on the last podcast, man, you got some cool stuff. Cool
stuff. I didn't show that thing I wanted to show you guys. Whatever.
We'll catch it on the next one.
Yeah. We'll bring it out. Maybe we'll do a Clone Wars roundtable.
You guys are gonna be like, no freaking way.
Nick, you wanna go ahead and give yours?
Sure. You can find me on Etsy and Instagram at CGS_props.
Brad, you want to go?
Yeah, Dragon_Hosk on Instagram. Just hit the link tree and it's got everything else. So
heck yeah. Grant?
You can find me just on Instagram at Vanguard Mandalorian.
Very cool. Hannah?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is hannahs.emp, and then TikTok is hannah.emp. And I just post a bunch of lightsaber stuff.
Very cool. She has a whole freaking collection. It's crazy, man.
Just look up Hannah Star Wars Girl and it comes up.
I don't even want to think about how much money. I know you get sent some sabers, but I know you also buy sabers too. I was like, I don't even want to calculate like how much money you've had to spend on sabers. It's like hurts my brain.
I don't want to either.
Rex, do you want to share your social medias?
Well, you can search me on Instagram as Rex_Skyfighter, and I also have a link tree where you can go to my other social media as well as some free 3D designs.
Very cool. Neal?
Yeah, my name is Neal, and I'm on Instagram at RebelScum375. I do Rebel Alliance army building, customizing, and storytelling. And I just want to thank you guys for having me on. You know, it's really, really great to come here and chat Star Wars with y'all.
Of course, I know Neal and Brad, you guys are two newcomers to the thing, and I hope you guys come on from. I'm going to be doing stuff for Bad Batch and Andor.
Anytime.
So you guys are more than welcome to sign up for. I'll send you guys the sheets and stuff like that. I'll also add you. I have a group chat. Instagram group chat, so I'll add y'all to that. But welcome back anytime. I love having you guys on. You guys gave a lot of awesome input. You guys, the invite. Yeah, of course. You guys can follow me at PMPS_DEN. That's PMP's Den on any. I'm on every social media: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You can, if you guys are into 3D printing, Star Wars stuff and video game stuff, you can follow me at PMP Creations, also on everything. And then also, yeah, she's got my saber that I.
This is one of them.
Oh yeah.
The blaster.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Now you guys are going and seeing all of it. Oh yeah. We're shouting out the business.
All the creations.
What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, the pew pew megaphone blaster.
Classic Star Wars.
Mini kids.
Oh yeah. So I do
mini kids.
Yes. Mini kids.
I do all sorts of stuff. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, you guys can go follow me on all that stuff as well. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. That helps out the channel crazy, gets out to more Star Wars fans. We got to build this empire even more. I'm building an empire, so you guys are just the start. You guys are lifting it up and making it do what it do. So thank you guys, and as always, may the Force be with you. Hey, that was a long one, guys. That's crazy.